Away and welcome back. My name is Zoey Black and today we are talking about buttery smooth, crispy, creamy, slow baked B-roll. Yeah. And in today's tutorial we're going to talk about how you can use B-roll in your footage, in your edits, to take your content to a more professional level. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually not wearing any pants. I think this is like the new normal, so yeah. Anyway, let's roll the intro. So B-roll is supplementary footage that you use in your videos in order to create some kind of story to enhance the narrative, right? So as opposed to just shooting, me talking about how to edit B-roll, I would actually play some B-roll in the background. It would look something like this, right? So you'd have maybe a voiceover or something while footage is playing in the background to give some context and story to what it is that we're talking about. So B-roll really helps drive your story forward. It creates some nuance. You can also provide some really great context through using B-roll. So B-roll is one of the things that I always shoot whenever I am creating any kind of content. You can never ever have enough B-roll. So I'm playing some footage from a video that I did last year that we shot at a wine farm, right? It is another beautiful day in Cape Town. The sun is out, the weather is great, and naturally, I'm doing a wine tasting. Okay, so there's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. So the footage is kind of meh, right? It's kind of jumping straight into things. There's no context. There's nothing to get you kind of into what it is that the video is about, what's happening around, being at a wine farm, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take that footage and we're going to add some B-roll to that. Okay, so we're going to launch Final Cut Pro, and so this is the software that I'm using to edit my videos. And so if you're using other kind of software like Adobe Premiere, or if you're using something like even like iMovie, the same kind of concepts would apply here. So for this purposes we're running with Final Cut Pro. Okay, so we are going to create a new project and we'll just call this B-roll. So what we're going to do is going to go ahead and we're just going to import our footage. So now I've got a folder here that I've created which is called the B-roll project, and I've divided this kind of into my A-roll, which is kind of the main footage that we're shooting, me talking about whatever it is that I want to talk about in my video. And then you'll see here that we've got our 3 B-roll clips. Now one of the things that I've also done is that I've shot all of my A-roll, me talking, in 24 frames per second. Now this is a standard that's used across Hollywood generally for filmmaking. It provides you with that cinematic look to your film as opposed to shooting at a higher frame rate, which is either 30 or 60. That's more suited for like television. For wanting to achieve a cinematic look, you want to shoot in 24 frames per second. Now the exception to this is when I shoot my B-roll. Now the B-roll we shoot in 60 frames per second because the B-roll we're going to slow down to create that nice fluid slow motion effect for our footage. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and import all of those into our project library. Okay, and we're going to go with A-roll. Where are we? This is A-roll 2. Let's find A-roll 1 because I've labeled that in order that we've done it. Okay, so here's A-roll 1. We're just going to drag that onto our timeline very quickly. Alright, and you can see there is our footage. Now we're just going to trim this back a little bit and we're going to run this through once. It is another beautiful day in Cape Town. The sun is out, the weather is great, and naturally I'm doing a wine tasting. Okay, so there's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Now granted that this footage is a little bit overexposed, don't worry about that. We're going to come and fix that a little bit later when we do our data and grading. So now we've got our basic timeline and we want to add some context to give a little bit of spice to the video, right? So we're going to pull up our B-roll, right? So here's one of the B-roll clips that we shot. Okay, yeah, people are laughing, which is always like a great little clip to use. So okay, I'm just going to turn the audio off here for a second. We're just going to play that through for a brief second. Okay, lovely, got that. Now we're going to drag this onto our timeline and insert that between the 2 clips over there. Now don't worry, we're going to extend those clips a little bit by slowing them down, so they'll kind of piece themselves together, and we'll get like a nice little bit of an intro to provide context for the video. So what we're doing is we're finding little clips in the B-roll that we shot to kind of give a sense of the story, the narrative, to add that little bit of spice and context to the narrative of the video, right? So naturally we're at a wine tasting, so we're getting shots of all of the wines, the snacks, the things that are happening, the people who are there. So what we want to do is we want to take that footage that we shot for the B-roll, which is shot in 60 frames per second, and bring that all the way down to 24. So we're going to slow the speed of those clips to 40% of its rate, which is going to bring the frame rate down from 60 to 24. So now the clips on the timeline are all in 24 frames per second, but those clips that we shot in the B-roll, which we slowed down, is now going to be in slow motion. Yeah. What we also want to do is we just want to go here, because we don't need the audio for this, and so what we want to do is go here and detach the audio from our clips, because the B-roll's been shot in slow motion and we don't want the audio from that. So now we've adjusted some of the clips on the timeline, and let's play that back to see what it looks like. It is another beautiful day in Cape Town. The sun is out, the weather is great, and naturally I'm doing a wine tasting. Okay, so we got some nice B-roll going, we got some people laughing, we can clearly see the wine. Alright, there's some food in the background, which is also giving such a little bit of a nice context that it's, you know, it's eating, it's drinking. It's a little gorgeous shot. Okay, so there's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Honestly, I think I love shooting B-roll more than anything else. It just always looks so good, especially in that slow motion. Yes. Okay, now bear in mind that this is not the perfect edit. I'm just going through this very, very roughly to give you a sense of what B-roll looks like when you edit it into your footage, right? So what we're going to do very quickly is do a quick color grade. So we're going to go over here and find our adjustment layer. So looking at this footage, you can definitely tell that the footage is overexposed in places a little bit, right? So we've got to go back and fix that. So let's do a quick color grade here. Let's pull in some corrections. I can see the highlights are just way too much, so let's just bring that slider all the way down. Let's crush the blacks a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit too much. Yeah, just slightly, and we're just going to create some contrast in the midtones. Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the saturation in the midtones all the way up, because what we're going to do is we're going to add a LUT onto this, and then we're just going to drag another adjustment layer very quickly. So we've got that rough color grade over there, and then we're going to scroll down all the way and find our custom LUT. Let's drag this onto the timeline, and let's have a look at that quickly. And let's add a dark and moody. Okay, obviously that is way too much, and we're just gonna bring that down to maybe, say, for 50%. Yep, 50% looks good, I think. Alright, now if you play that back, you can see there's quite a bit of a much better color grade on top of this footage. So hypothetically, this was a kind of promotional video that we were making for like a client, if you were doing this to promote a certain product, or in this case a wine farm. We can maybe drag a title into let's just add a basic title onto the timeline, and we'll call this title the farm's name. Let's go here. Yep. Now we've got our main footage, we've got our B-roll added, we've done a color grade, and we've added a title to our video. The last thing that I always add to give some extra space is maybe like a soundtrack, right? And so I'm going to go to the media that we've imported and drag the soundtrack onto our timeline. So what I don't want is the whole clip, right? I only want that little bit of an intro for the song where it really punches in, and I want that to come in with the B-roll, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to trim this down, I think, over there, and we'll add this to the timeline right there. So what we do is we play it back, we listen to it, we find out where that beat is like really kicking in, and we'll place that all the way over here. where we know that the beetle is about to enter, right? One of the things that you definitely don't want is for the music that you're playing to be clashing and competing with your voice, right? So always make sure that if you have background music, make sure that the levels of your music are a little bit lower so that the voice is articulated in your footage. Otherwise, nobody's going to be able to hear what you're saying. Yeah. Okay, so we're just creating some keyframes and lowering the levels on the music in the places that I'm speaking, right? Where I'm speaking again, we're gonna lower that a little bit to say a -14, and then we're just gonna leave it the way it is because that music will come back in when the titles kick in, and yeah, that'll kind of give a little punch to the intro to the video. And this will be great for clients if you're wanting to create some emphasis with that title right at the end, right? Lekker. So let's play this back and see what it looks like. It is another beautiful day in Cape Town. The sun is out, the weather is great, and naturally, I'm doing a wine tasting. Okay, so there's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Yes, how good does that look? So you see like that beetle is working to kind of give a context to what's happening and give some movement to the story. And it's also drawing us in, and it actually is making me want to go and do a wine tasting at a farm right now. Yeah. Okay, cool. I hope this video was helpful. Go out there, shoot some B-roll, edit it like a boss, and yeah, get some good content in. As always, if you've been enjoying this content, please remember to hit that subscribe button and turn the bell on for notifications. I'd really appreciate that. And I will see you all in the next one. Ciao. You know what? I actually think we should make promo videos for wine farms because this is just yes. I mean, it took me like 5 minutes and look at that. It's damn good.